Shattered. Too unbreakable. Listen here, sweet sister. Whether you think you have one little crack or you are shattered into a billion pieces, this podcast is going to give you the resources, tools, and skills to help piece yourself back together to form a beautiful, unique, solid, and unbreakable masterpiece. You are listening to Shattered to Unbreakable, the Reclaim Podcast. Let's talk. Hello and welcome to another episode of Shattered to Unbreakable. I'm your host, Brandy Babin, and Aubrey Fowler is here with me. Of course, we're talking about peaceful productivity. Not doing more to get more, but doing less more intentionally to make a bigger impact. That's where we're at. Mm-hmm. So today we're going to talk about productivity hacks that Aubrey and I use around the house and in our life to have this peaceful productivity feel. What's really cool about me and Aubrey is we come from both ends of the spectrum of busy moms. So Aubrey, she is staying home with her kids. She's homeschooling her kids. She has a garden. She is canning. She's highly involved in her church. I mean, that is all of this going on over here. I am a working mom, so I have my 9 to 5. I run a side business, and then I volunteer as much as I can with my kids' school. And that's about as much as I can handle. So we are going to take you through a day in the life for each of us and tell you what kinds of things we do to create rest, create impact and intention with what we do get done, and then how we, and I don't want to say deal with, but how we strategize these high stress situations we might run into, how we decompress, how we take care of ourselves in the process. So I'm going to let Aubrey go first.
Yes. So before I tell you about what my day looks like, I want to talk about what productivity means to me, because just like everything we talk about in the Reclaim guide, in the subscription box, everything, it's very subjective. That's why the guide is structured the way it is, so that you can create your own habits, because my definition of productivity might be different from yours. My definition of success might be different from yours. My rest looks different from yours. And none of them are wrong if they work for you. So you have to first identify, what do you consider productive? What's a productive day for you? What's important to you? What do you value? You have to identify that before you can start to look for hacks, before you can strategize how you're going to get all that done. And so I recently went through a period of identifying that. What is really important? What do I really need to get done? And, I'm a homeschooling mom, like Brandy said, so obviously getting through our lessons is important to me. Getting through them to the letter, not necessarily so important. So I like to end a lesson before everybody starts crying. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we go through as much as we can where I have them engaged. And then, when we start to fade, that's when we go play outside or something. So for me, being productive with school isn't about getting math, English, writing, science done. It's about maintaining engagement for the whole time. So my hack for that is understanding, where do we get derailed? What keeps us from being engaged with each other? And these hacks are going to be hard because, like I said, your productivity looks different from mine. So you might not be able to copy my hacks.
Right. And the point is not to. The point is to make your own.
What we want to get across is, yes, exactly.
Use us as inspiration.
So I noticed that with my kids, I'm just going to give you my example because maybe it'll spark, like, oh, okay, I get it. So my kids, if we don't do school right away in the morning, it's going to take us all day. It might take us 45 minutes to an hour. My kids are 5 and 7. So it really, in my opinion, we homeschool because 5 and 7-year-olds really don't need to be doing school all day. And there's a lot of extra things that happen in public school that aren't actually class time. So, and here at home, we don't have to structure our day like that. So, if we start it early in the morning, we can be done in 45 minutes to an hour. If I start it after lunch, all afternoon until dinner, we're trying to do school. So that's my first hack, I guess, for my life is we wake up, we have a little time together, we have our breakfast, the kids get dressed, we do school right away. We don't go outside and play. We don't watch TV because any of that, anything, even just playing by themselves in their rooms, it's going to throw us off because they want to keep doing that or they get too much energy in their body and then they just can't sit still. I'm a huge advocate for not sitting still during school. Like my son will do school upside down on the couch like a bat. And that's fine as long as he's engaged. So it's not so much like sit down, shut up in a chair that I'm looking for, but I can't talk to you about math if you're literally on the other side of the yard, you know?
Yeah.
So that's one thing that I noticed is that we have to start that right away. And I am one of those moms we talked about in a previous episode about rest. Do you get up before your kids? Do you let your kids wake you up? And there's no wrong answer. It's whatever works for you. I need to get up before my family. I don't really do anything before my family wakes up. I sit with my coffee, but that's important to me because if they wake me up, I greet them with like, ugh, which is how Brandy greets her kids when she tries to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning and beat them awake. Yeah. So we ended up with different results there.
That's right.
But I agree. I don't want them to think like mom's a bear in the morning. I want to greet them with like, hi, good morning. So it's never that cheery. It's never, ever that chipper. But it is warm when I can sit up, when I can sit with myself and my thoughts for a little bit and my coffee. So for me, my hacks start with where does this go sideways? More than what works best, identifying what really does not work and how can I avoid that. And that's where more of my hacks come from.
That's perfect. I was listening to a podcast with Matthew McConaughey on it. And Matthew McConaughey was asked like, how are you supposed to navigate who you are? How are you supposed to find out who am I? And Matthew was saying, you know what? The best way to understand who you are is to find out first who you're not. So I love the idea of saying, okay, let's figure out what's not working. That's perfect.
And I discovered that I really have to keep our school time sacred because it's really easy. If any of you listening are also stay-at-home moms or homeschooling moms, it's really easy to count that time as flexible, right? So if another mom reaches out and she's like, hey, we're going to the park at 9:30. You want to come? I can technically go to the park at 9:30. There's nothing that says I have to homeschool in the morning. I can homeschool in the afternoon, but that really doesn't work for my family. So no, I'm sorry, I'm not available at 9:30. I can go to the park at 11 or I can join you another day. But being able to say no, that doesn't work for me, and prioritizing my time, respecting myself enough, my schedule enough to say no. And I haven't had a single friend. If I did, I have to really evaluate the word friend in that sentence. Yeah. I haven't had a single friend who's like, ugh, she never comes to the park, because they all understand, right? We all have had to go home because it's nap time. And instead of a cute little baby, I now have a wild mongoose and I have to go and deal with this. So
exactly.
Saying no is important. And when I really started lately evaluating what does productivity look like, I started saying no a lot. I drew a lot of boundaries, some of them with you, Brandy. I had to I can't do that. And it wasn't even necessarily, none of it was anything that Brandy had put on me. You hadn't asked me to do any of it. It was all expectations I had set on myself that I wasn't able to live up to and felt like I was failing. So I literally set myself up to fail. And
which we all do. And that's
so
why
I
we're
had
in
to
business.
draw some boundary lines. Yeah. So I had to draw some boundary lines technically with Brandy because I did tell you what they were, but they were for me. I had to put boundaries on myself. and decide that that's, while I'm passionate about that, there are other things like with the church. I do volunteer with my church, but I can't do everything that I want to do. Let me rephrase that. Not every worthy project that I'm excited about in the church needs me in it.
Yeah.
I can be excited about it and cheerlead for you, but I don't have the time to show up and do it. Like you can do that without me. I will make time for the things that I can that that I feel like I really need to contribute, but not everything needs my direct involvement. So I had to start drawing some hard lines, and and everybody that I've had to talk to about it is completely understanding. So really, my biggest aha moment was that these boundaries are on me. Like, yes, your boundaries are for you. They're supposed to be for you and you leading a more peaceful life. But I'm the one who has to respect these boundaries more than other people.
That's so true.
That was a fun moment of clarity.
Yeah. And I have realized that there's seasons, and I've really stepped into the idea that there are seasons. I would love to be more involved in my church. Mm-hmm. This is not the season for it. And I actually realized this probably 8 years ago or more, because I really wanted to help with the church, but I was like, I don't know when, and I have young kids and I don't know what to do when where I have to take them with me. And even some of the things that for the school, I would love to volunteer, but this isn't the season. And then this year, all of a sudden, an opportunity came up. And because I knew my schedule, I knew my priorities, and I knew what season I was in, I was able to say yes or no to different opportunities. So if an opportunity happens during a time in my schedule that I know I need for something that's very impactful, I have to say no, because if I say yes to it, I'm saying no to the very impactful, aligned thing that I wanted to do. But when an opportunity arose, like, hey, we need somebody Fridays from 8 to 8:45. Oh my gosh, that's perfect. I have to be to work at 9. My kids get dropped off at 8. That is a very aligned volunteer opportunity, and that doesn't take away from my energy, right? And so I love that. And I love knowing just that there will come a time when my kids are older that I can volunteer more. But right now, I have certain priorities that make a bigger impact, and it's my responsibility to take care of those things. And I love how you're saying, like, just be a cheerleader. You can love something that the church is doing, but it doesn't mean you have to be the chairman of it. Just cheerlead, like, yes, I love this. I'm so glad you're doing this. It's so needed. I love it. That's such a great point to make for everybody listening. What if I told you you could make a bigger impact, get more done, and also feel confident and energized while doing it, no longer exhausted or distracted by the world around you? Through a series of streamlined systems, we have designed the Peace Out Burnout online course, where we help you create aligned habits and achieve massive goals, especially for you high achievers out there that are tired of the exhausting yet falsely glorified grind. The Reclaim strategy is hands down the best system for sparking your true purpose, eliminating distractions and burnout, and streamlining your progress to those dare to dream goals now. Inside of this course, you are going to have access to our signature dump and bump method of decluttering and detoxifying everything you didn't know was keeping you on repeat. You'll also learn our Tears Tell a Story strategy that teaches you to use your body's cues to uncover your true, authentic purpose. And you'll also hear about our trademarked goal diversification strategy to reverse engineer your massive goals into aligned habits and streamlined progress that get you big wins now. Go to stan.store/reclaim your story now for the Peace Out Burnout online course. 8 proven steps we use to build aligned habits that make even your most massive goals attainable. All right, welcome back. And now it's my turn to tell you about my day. I am a working mom, so I go to work. It's a 9-to-5 type of job situation. And then I also do as much as I can to foster the Reclaim community in my spare time. So I have to be very strategic about my day. And My favorite part of productivity in my schedule was learning my human design. And so I have a way of getting your human design chart for free. So I will explain that later. However, if you want a true reading of your human design chart, because it's very confusing looking when you first see it, you're like, what are all these colors and symbols for? And so I can get you
Yeah.
hooked up with my favorite human design guru, Jessica Roberts. So we can talk about that at the end. But once I figured out what my human design was, I started realizing, oh, I can start listening to my body. No wonder I've always felt this way. So I am a high achiever. I like to overachieve, over deliver, exceed expectations, set big goals, all of the things. So my days used to look very full, very hectic until recently in the last couple of years when I've realized, okay, I do better when I work really hard and really focused for about 3 hours. Then I have to shift gears completely and do something else. And knowing this about myself has made
Mm-hmm.
me super productive in a very peaceful way. So, a day in the life, if we were to look at a day for me, I'm going to use a day where I have my kids. So, I have the unique situation where my kids are with their dad 50% of the time and they're with me 50% of the time. So, my days with my kids looks a little different than my days without my kids. Um, so, I'll use an example of a day with my kids. Each of my kids is allowed to do one extracurricular activity and one only. So for now, they just can do one thing. My boys do Krav Maga, my girls do dance, and that's all we do. So, um, wake up in the
Mm-hmm.
morning. It just depends. I let my body kind of wake up and do its thing. I do set an alarm just in case, but when my alarm goes off, I have the freedom to push snooze and go back to sleep or just get up. And I just let my body tell me what it wants to do. So my alarm goes
Mm-hmm.
off. I stop it and then actually don't push snooze. I stop it because there's something very interesting about the science of snoozing. Your body, once it goes back to sleep, wants another 90 minutes. So I set my alarm for 6.
Mm-hmm.
I just push stop when it goes off. When I push stop, either my kids are going to wake me up between 7, well, basically 7 on a school day. My kids will wake me up at 7. We have to leave the house by 7:30. So my productivity in day involves a very fast makeup tutorial and keeping my hair natural. So I let my hair just do its natural thing. And then I have a quick, actually, it's more like a 3-minute makeup thing that I have going on so that I can get ready super fast. We also get things ready the night before. So the kids' clothes are ready, their backpacks are ready, their snacks are already in their backpacks, their water bottles are already in their backpacks, their shoes are laid out, everything is ready so that they really have nothing to do but get dressed, eat breakfast, and then we go. And we have about 30 minutes to do so, which is plenty of time if you've prepped the night before. If we don't prep the night before, it's a you know what show.
Mm-hmm.
So we prep the night before. That's how I stay productive in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
And then take the kids to school. Then I do my social media prepping. I drop them off at 8. I prep my social media from 8 to 9. And then I either post it or save it or whatever, or film some more stuff. So 8 to 9 is my social media time. Then from 9 to 12, I'm immersed in my day job. So that's a 3-hour chunk of time. I do emails, I do estimates, I do everything that I need to do that's really pertinent from the day before or whatever, my important list. And then after that 3 hours, I have to step away from the computer, eat some lunch, go for a walk, go work out, whatever I'm feeling like that day. Which is interesting because I used to be like religiously working out. And now I work out if I feel like I have the energy to work out. If I don't, I don't. Um,
Yeah.
that works for me. I naturally my body is able to bounce back when I stop working out for a while and start again. I just have I'm blessed with the physique that I have. So yay me. So that's what works for me. Um, let's see. I have to pack my lunch or else I spend way too much on lunch and I eat like crap. So I pack my lunch the night before, something that's
Mm-hmm.
easy to grab in the morning. And then from in the afternoon, I always leave from like 1 to 4 for putting out fires or creative flow or whatever has come up that day. So that's usually when I schedule a coffee with someone, or I say, yes, we can have a phone call in the afternoon. I try to leave it a little bit flexible, like I'll be available between 1 and 3 kind of thing. So my afternoons are more for this like catch-all time that I set aside for like, okay, whatever comes up, that's what I'm going to do from 1 to 3.
Yeah.
Or 1 to 4 or whatever, the afternoon piece. Sometimes I have to go get my kids at 2:30, 2:45. So that's why it needs to be flexible. So I'll go grab my kids, bring them back to work, or I'll go to dance class or Krav. So that's kind of in that realm. Luckily, I had either a roommate or now I have Corey to cook for us, or I'll have something that is leftovers or something really easy to do for dinner. And then we do homework, and then the kids get ready for bed. After the kids go to bed, I allow myself about an hour of creative time, and I try to get myself off of screens during that time. If I have to, I have to, but I try to stay off screens in that hour. So I'll do something that's on my Remarkable where I'm writing, or I'll read something, or I'll listen to something, but I try to stay off of screens. So that's what my day looks like usually. On a day without the kids, I strategically plan date night to keep my relationship strong with Corey. And then I strategically plan these podcast recordings and time with Aubrey to work on Reclaim and be creative with her. So that is my flow. On the weekends, there's no work happening when I have my kids. It's me and my kids, and that's it. We go outside, we do chores, we hang out. They get a present mother on those times. I don't do social media. I barely even post. Like if I do post, it's before I go get them on Friday. I don't post on the weekends. I don't really do stories on the weekends. It's just me and my kids. And then on the weekends I don't have the kids, that's when I'm like super productive. I try to fit all the stuff in that I wanted to fit in that maybe I'm behind on. And then I also schedule rest. I always have at least one evening where I haven't planned anything, so that I can just watch a movie, hang out with Corey, whatever it is that I need, take a bath, something like that. My favorite hacks, if I could just tell you, this is what made a huge difference. The human design reading, obviously, huge difference. Another hack that I have is dual screens for working moms. I have a tri-screen now that fits on my laptop and it folds out. That has helped a lot. And I also have a mouse that has these buttons, like programmable buttons for copy, paste, and screenshot that I don't even have to do my shortcuts on my keyboard. That has been amazing. That's just a Logitech mouse. And then my Remarkable tablet. My Remarkable tablet has helped me so much. So when you're talking about working mom hacks, more than one screen, a mouse with shortcuts, and a Remarkable, so you don't have to use pen and paper so much and lose all of your notes and Post-its. But I do miss highlighting. And obviously the Reclaim journal, duh. That's like the productivity hack of the century. You need a Reclaim guide. It's not called a journal anymore. It's a Reclaim guide. It's more than a journal. It's a complete guide to peaceful productivity and success. So that's my day as far as productivity hacks. I'm saying like the thing that keeps me peaceful is being present for my kids. I put everything aside. I didn't used to be able to do that.
Yeah.
And it used to be this constant fight for my attention. And I would get irritated and they would get irritated. And so I'm very intentional about making time for them. So, ta-da! That's my hacks. And I'm going to be posting about those on Reels. So,
yes. Before we sign off, I was just thinking that obviously we live different lives, so your day is structured a little bit different than mine. And I just wanted to mention, because it was a huge aha moment for me when I discovered it. I used to try to schedule like that. Like we start school at 9 and we are going to do this from 9 to 11, and then we're going to do that, and then we're going to have lunch. And it didn't work for us at all. Scheduling things just didn't. It never failed. It was probably the Lord trying to tell me that like, you're not meant to schedule this, because when I would try to start it, like we're going to start school tomorrow at 9 and my daughter would sleep till 9:30. I hate waking them up. Like we homeschool. I don't have to.
Yeah.
So I don't want to.
Right.
And I was like, okay, so it works so much better for us to have a rhythm that we follow. First we do that, and then we do this, and then we do that. And there are hard times on certain things. Like if my kids eat much later than 12 or 12:30 for lunch, then they're like Tasmanian devils. Just it's not good. So we have lunch at 12 or 12:30, no matter what we've gotten done with school in the morning. And then after that, they do quiet time. We do bedtime. We start that at 7 with their baths and stuff. So there are some hard and fast times during the day. But in between that, we just flow from one thing to the next. And if we haven't gotten through all of the school that I wanted to get done by the time it's time for lunch, then we'll pick up where we left off tomorrow, because we're moving on to the next thing in the rhythm. So
yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that,
work better with a schedule, and you have more things.
Yeah. And I have a schedule, but I do allow tons of flexibility. And I think I'm so glad you mentioned it, because I think it's important to note.
Yes.
I do have my dream schedule, and I try to stick to it when it works. But like I said, if I get in a creative flow or something, I don't stop it. I let that finish, because to me, that's a reward for being peacefully productive, is that I get gifted these times of creative flow where I'm just super focused. I'm just working. It's not like I like stop myself hard. So feel free to create a schedule like I did, but do give yourself flexibility. Let things lead you astray. You don't have to be so meticulously married to this schedule. You just have to know what your end goal is, what your strategy is to get there, if it feels aligned or not. Those are the most important things. And then you will be able to know, like, should I let this distract me? Okay, does it fit with my aligned goal? Does it fit with my purpose? What kind of an impact will it have if I let this go this way? Okay, it's aligned. It'll have a huge impact. I'm going to go with it. It makes you more clear on your decision making to be able to know, this is going to be huge. I'm going to run with it. Or this is the distraction that might not be okay, like social media. Sometimes I get on social media to scroll to see what I want to recreate or what I want to use for my own posting. If I get too deep into that and it's running into my time that I need to start work, I can think, okay, I'm scrolling. I'm not really in a creative flow right now. I'm just scrolling. Like, this is entertainment for me. If I don't start work right now, how will that affect my day? Well, I have 3 very important things that clients are waiting on. I better stop. So, like, you can make informed decisions when you're that focused on what's going to make you productive and give more impact and what isn't, which I love. So definitely flexibility is key for productivity, I think. I'm so glad you said that.
Yeah, I would agree. We absolutely have to be flexible, because when you try to be super rigid, then it just feels like, the analogy of like trees bend in the wind. You have to be flexible, because if you refuse to move, you're going to break.
Exactly. And I'm going to be doing, me and Aubrey, I'm going to pick her brain too. But this weekend, I'm actually creating a 25 tips for productivity. So I am definitely going to be posting that, and it's going to be a freebie. So we will put all of these hacks in there for you guys, as well as for the working moms, some of the technology that I use to be productive too. So be on the lookout for that. It'll also be on Stan Store. So yay! That's our productivity hacks for stay-at-home homeschool moms. Unite, and working moms up here. There's so many more that we didn't talk about, but I'm sure you guys all have your examples, and I'm just really excited for you to get super clear on your direction and aligning everything about your life with your passion and purpose and where you want to go and who you are. That's the most important thing, is figuring out who you are so you can figure out what aligns with you. And that's all found in the Reclaim Guide and the Peace Out Burnout course, all on Stan Store. So check all of those out. And we will see you next week. We love you. Stay sparkly. Thank you so much for tuning in. We love having you, and that is why we want to offer you some more resources. We have a website called thereclaimstrategy.com, as well as our stan.store/reclaim your story. Either one of these is going to give you freebies, affordable online courses, resources about overcoming anxiety, so many great things. One of the best freebies we have right now is our 25 Peaceful Productivity Hacks. It's an ebook on our Stan Store that is going to lead you through finding peaceful productivity in your daily life. I also want to highlight our Self-Care Haven subscription box. It is absolutely amazing. I love that you get tea, a new tea that goes with our theme. You get self-care hacks inside of your box. You also get a loose leaf infuser included so that you can use your new tea. Another version of this box is the luxury box. This is where you will have a self-development book chosen by Reclaim to go with the theme, as well as bath salts or candles, depending on the season. So go check all of that out. We love you so much. We'll see you next week. Stay sparkly, sweet sisters.